Hello, this is Bruce Whittington with halfwheel.com. Today I'm taking a look at the Circle, a new double guillotine cutter from Fox Knives. Now, in the past 8 years or so, knife manufacturers have branched out into the world of cigar cutter, with companies like Benchmade, Boker, and Top Knives all releasing different designs and different cutters. Now, Fox Knives was founded in 1977 by Oreste Frati, and in addition to its knives, the Italian-based company has also released at least 5 different cigar cutter designs. For example, there's the 749, which I reviewed. As you see here, very unique and very, very good cutter. You also have the 746 Ortello, as you see here, also a very good cutter. And the newest cigar cutter from Fox Knives is called the Circle, a reimagination of a double guillotine cutter with a case, as you see, in a circle. Now, there are 10 different variations of the Circle, and each of them use different materials for the base of the cutter and coatings for the blade and that kind of thing, but the functionality of each one is exactly the same. Now, in terms of physical specifications, the Circle is a double guillotine cutter. It has 2 blades, and each of those blades is connected to one of the finger holes. To open it, basically just open it up like this. You put your fingers in the finger holes and pull apart. The blades open very, very easily and very smoothly. Now, this is actually a cutter that measures 3.5 inches long, 2.6 inches wide when it's closed like this, but that number does increase to just under 5 inches when both blades are fully open like this. Width-wise, it is 0.67 inches thick, and it weighs just under 92 grams. Now, depending on which model you choose, the bodies of the cutters are made from different materials, but functionally they're all basically the same and work the same. The blades are made entirely of 12C27 steel on this model, and they measure between 55 and 57 on the Rockwall hardness scale. Finally, the opening of this cutter can actually cut a 54 ring gauge cigar in half, but it can cut caps off of cigars up to about 60, 62 ring gauge, give or take. But enough about all that, let's cut some cigars. So, the process of cutting a cigar with the Circle cutter is very reminiscent of any number of other double guillotine cutters on the market. However, I found that there are a couple of things that I can do to make that process more successful with this specific cutter. And really, the issue that I have comes down to balance and how to combat that balance issue. What I'm talking about is this piece here. All of the weight is concentrated in this Circle part of the case, and that causes a balance issue when you're trying to hold the cutter and when you're trying to cut cigars with the cutter. It flops forward and that kind of thing. What I found is the easiest way to combat that is to support the cutter on 2 different ends. So when I pick up the cutter, I'm going to pick it up, put my fingers into the openings here, and I'm going to put the cap of the cigar that I'm cutting into the opening. I'm going to see how much of that cap I'm taking off, which is very easy with this cutter, thankfully. And then I'm going to simultaneously push against the top of the cutter here with my index finger, while also pushing the cap of the cigar against the blades. And what that does is it combats that balance issue very, very well. And I'm just going to put this cap in here. Very difficult on the video. And I'm going to push. Whoops, it wasn't straight. I'm going to push here and push the cigar here against the blades. Now, you don't want to do it too hard. You'll bust the cap doing that. Just give it a little bit of a push on both ends. And when you do that, you can see that the result, if I can get it in focus, there we go. Result is very, very good. And it happens very, very well. No issues at all when it comes to combusting caps or anything. As long as you don't push against those blades too hard, it's good to go. Okay, so as I've done in the past, I'm going to go through some really good things about the cutter, some not so great things about the cutter, some things I loved and some things that I wish might not be the case. And starting out that list of really great things is the result, the fact that this cutter cuts cigars very, very well. Cuts them clean, cuts them consistently, and with no major damage of any sort in all the cigars that I cut. No wrapper damage, no busted caps, anything of that nature. Very important. So I also love the fact that the visual design is so unique. I love a cutter that I can pull out and that people will ask about. Hey, what's that cutter? I've never seen it before. It starts a conversation, and that's, I love that. I love the aspect of being able to start a conversation, and this certainly has that. There's also the fact that the finger holes are very large, and in fact large enough for my large fingers to fit into with no problems whatsoever. They are a little bit thin. I wish they were a little thicker. And they did pinch just a little bit every once in a while when I'm actually opening and closing, but they're not as large or as comfortable as some other double guillotines that I've tried that have rounded edges, thicker rounded edges. However, it's a minor quibble and not one that I'm willing to blast the cutter on. Finally, there's the fact that because of the design, you can actually see exactly how much of that cap that you are taking off every time you actually cut a cigar, and that is a very good thing, and it's a feature that I really miss when I am reviewing cutters that do not have it. Now, having said all of that, there are some drawbacks to this cutter, and really the biggest one comes down to this circle here. I love the uniqueness of it. I love the look of it. However, all of the weight is concentrated in this circle, and that means that the finger holes, which are not quite as heavy, when you put your fingers in there and try to cut cigars, you're going to have this imbalance. It's something that is easily taken care of. I showed you I found the best way to cut cigars was to, support both ends here. But it is a process that you have to learn yourself when you're cutting the cigar. It's not just something that you're going to pick up and go, oh, this is the best cigar ever, I'm going to get cut, and then you get really great results. It's a process that you have to learn, and that takes longer than just picking up a normal cigar cutter. Now, one thing I did note is that I have tried to cut cigars using it upside down, basically, and it's possible, certainly, but I did not like the feel of it, and I wasn't able to get the pressure in the right place to actually be able to consistently cut cigars well using that method. Secondly, I love the fact that you can cut a 54 ring gauge cigar in half with this opening. However, with 60 ring gauge and above, I had some problems. 60 ring gauge won't come close to fitting through there, obviously. And while I had some 60 ring gauge cigars and above that I cut and they were fine, some of them were not. I just couldn't get enough of the cap off of it to get a draw that I considered acceptable. What I would say is if you're cutting cigars that are 60 ring gauge and above frequently, I would definitely look for a different cutter. And so in the end, after all that, can I recommend the circle from Fox Knives? The answer is yes, and the reason is pretty simple. It comes down to the results. The cuts that I got from this cutter were consistently clean, consistently good, with very few minor problems and no major damage at all. No busted caps or damage to the wrapper or anything like that. Of course, there's more to it. I love the unique visual aspect of the cutter, and it's very, very durable. I dropped this thing multiple times on accident, I promise, and there's no massive scratches or dents or anything of that nature. Now, having said all of that, there are some minor problems that begin to pile up when you think about it. It is heavy, it's unbalanced, and it can't cut cigars over about 62 ring gauge consistently, and it's very expensive. But look, this is not the perfect cutter in the world. In fact, it's not even the best cutter that Fox Knives makes. However, it is a very good cutter, does its job, does what it's supposed to do consistently well, and it looks great while doing it. And for me, that's more than enough. So, that's my opinion. For all of your news and reviews of premium cigars, go to halfwheel.com.